Hi everyone, Barbara Rankin here with ColourArte. I have this cute little wooden heart box I got from my local craft store, and I thought it would be fun to see if we can make it more elegant and perhaps look more like it should hold precious gems or special trinkets, whatever suits you. So let's get started. I want to make a focal image, so I'm going to use one of the Prima iod molds. This one is called Trifles. I'm going to mix up some faster plaster with water to a consistency of pancake batter. I'm not sure if this is made anymore. Originally it was made by Plaid, but if you cannot find it, you can also use permastone, a similar casting material made by Activa and found in Michael's and Hobby Lobby. It will be easier to mix if you put some water in the cup first, then add the plaster. I don't have any specific amounts, but like I said, you just want it to be the consistency of pancake batter, a little thick but not too thick to pour. I sometimes tap the cup or the mold on my tabletop to bring any air bubbles to the surface. I like to use my spatula to smooth out any excess plaster. Now all you have to do is set it aside to dry. I used up the rest of the plaster in my cup and I'm setting the mold aside. While the mold pieces dry, I'm going to prime the entire box inside and out with a coat of white gesso. This wood is pretty rough and blemished, so gesso will help cover some of those blemishes, and I won't need as much paint since I'm actually sealing the wood too. Now I'll set this aside to dry and check on my mold pieces. I can tell the pieces are not quite dry yet. However, the packaging says that I can remove them from the mold after 1 to 1.5 hours and either let it air dry for 24 to 36 hours or microwave it on low or defrost for 3 minutes, repeating this process 2 more times. I was a bit anxious and didn't wait the full hour and a half, and this last piece broke in two as I was removing it, but I should be able to easily glue it back together. Alright, I've narrowed it down to these 3 pieces that I molded earlier. This one seems too small, and this one is quite nice. But, of course, I like the one I broke the best. I'm confident I can glue it well enough that the cracks will not be noticeable, and this is a nice sturdy flat surface, so it won't be going anywhere once the glue dries. I'm going to use my old standby, Aleene's Quick Grab Tacky Glue. It is a thicker glue and will fill in any gaps in the molded pieces, and best of all, hang on to them while it dries. I've got some beautiful German Dresden scrap borders here that I will add to the sides and top edge of my box. This will give such a beautiful added dimension and texture to this plain old box. I'm going to glue it to the box off camera, and when I come back I will show you how it looks. So here it is with all the Dresden borders glued down the way I want them. Now I'm going to paint the Dresden borders with white gesso. This will not only cover the border pieces, but also prime them for the additional paint layers. I also needed to prime the plaster molded piece with white gesso as well. I have some texture pebbles and texture sand from Bria Reese, plus a clear glue pen, all from Hobby Lobby. Simply lay down puddles of glue and drop the pebbles into the puddles. Boy, try saying that 3 times really fast. I like to use really cheap, stiff bristled brushes to push the pebbles into the glue and manipulate the puddles a bit. Next, use the texture sand to fill in the open spaces between the pebbles. Here I've decided to add a third puddle of glue, pebbles, and sand just to balance out the composition. I've got cyan white and a new color, Royal Orchid, to start with. I'm picking up some of each color and blending it directly on the box. I'm not sure how dark I want the color to be, so I'm basically playing around with that color blend right on the box. Now I'm picking up the Royal Orchid straight to see how much I like it if I want to keep it that dark. I usually go for more pastel colors, so I'm going to blend more of the white in as I work the paint on the back of the box. However, my preferences for pastel seems to have gone by the wayside, as you can see by the photos of my finished box. I still have some paint on my mat, so I decided to use it up and finish painting the top of the box, blending in more white as I go. Off camera, I went ahead and painted the sides in the same color mix of the Royal Orchid and Cyan White Vivid colors mixed together. I'm going to add some water to the Royal Orchid Vivid to make a wash. This will bring back some of the luster and that pretty red violet color I had before I added the white Vivid on the first layer. You can see how much redder violet the color is compared to the color on the sides. Use your heat tool to speed up the drying time and continue adding the color wash to the rest of the box. Squeeze out a small puddle of Cyan White Vivid onto your mat and use a dry brush technique to highlight and enhance the texture. You will see me occasionally wiping off most of the paint from my brush onto the paper towel to achieve this. You can see how it really brings out the textures and separates them from the background. Continue dry brushing all the textural elements on the sides, and if you want, you can even do it to the bottom of the box. Put a puddle of ginger flower Vivid on your mat, and pick up the paint with a small brush to add another color layer to the box. I'm not going to paint the focal area on the box, but just add this color everywhere else. Occasionally, you will see me dip my brush in the water. I'm picking up a tiny amount of water just to ease the paint application and reduce drag. A little bit of water will help with that. For my next layer, I'm going to add True Metals Dragon Gold Vivid. Just pour a puddle onto your mat and repeat the process as before. This is going to add some vintage goodness to the box. Of course, you'll want to do this all the way around the box and then allow it to dry. Next, I'm going to use Patina Gilder's paste to hit all the high spots on the Dresden foil and the central focal image on the box top. Applying this with your fingers will give the best result. A light touch is really important. My paste is a bit dry, so I'm using Grumtine, which is a solvent and thinner used with solvent-based mediums such as this. I just dropped a tiny amount on my glass mat so that I can pick some of it up on my finger and rehydrate the paste. If you are sensitive to solvents, I would suggest wearing gloves or using some other tool like the cotton swab or sponge to apply the paste. Just remember to keep a light touch. As for the sides, I found it easier to use my cotton swab that was saturated with the Grumtine and the Gilder's paste to apply it to the Dresden foil borders. It allowed me to get up close into those tight areas where my finger just was too large to get into. I added a bit of the patina to the bottom of the box as well to keep it all cohesive. I let the paste dry a few minutes, then buffed it to a shine with a dry, soft cloth. I decided to add one more coat of the True Metals Dragon Gold to add some depth and luster to the color layers. I'm sorry, but the puddle is off camera, but that is what I am picking up on my brush. Lastly, I'm going to use a gloss varnish with a soft, dry brush to seal and protect all these luscious layers on my box. You want to use glossy to maintain that beautiful shine of the ultra metallics. Cover one side at a time and let it dry before proceeding to another side. If you'd be interested in helping support our international team, you can follow this link to our Patreon account. If you enjoyed today's project video, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel so you won't miss any future tutorials. As always, thanks for watching, and always take time to play.